So here's why you need to start a side hustle. About 7 years ago, my wife and I were trying to have kids, and we weren't really having a ton of success. Eventually, we got pregnant. Congratulations to us. But one Sunday, she was not feeling the greatest. She was having some women's issues, we'll call it. And, I told her to go to the hospital, go get checked out, and she kept putting it off, putting it off. At this time, she was a nurse. And so we kept putting it off, putting it off. And eventually, after my basketball game, I played in a Sunday men's church league. We go to the hospital. And we went to the hospital expecting the worst. Women understand what's going on here. Men probably need a little bit more context. But, we go to the hospital expecting the worst. And so when you go to the ER, especially back 6-7 years ago, there wasn't TikTok. It wasn't the social media situation is now. So I'm sitting in this room, my wife and I, expecting the worst. And eventually, doctor comes in, says, "What's going on? We're going to need to take an ultrasound." So they wheel her back to take an ultrasound. And so I'm sitting in this room all by myself. And, you're expecting to hear terrible news. And so I'm flipping through the channels. A 19-inch screen in the ER. It has 7 channels, and this is in October, and it is there's nothing on TV, so you're just kind of cycling through. And so it felt like 3 hours went by with me flipping through the channels, not finding anything. In reality, it was probably about 15-20 minutes. So eventually she comes back, she's crying. I'm expecting to hear the worst. Finally, the ultrasound tech of all people blurts out, "Hey, did you know that you're having twins?" So at that point, I go from expecting the worst to elation, being excited. But then, fear, nervousness, and doubt kick in because we go from a family of 2, my wife and I, to a family of 4, twins. And people don't tell you that twins are expensive. You need 2 sets of diapers. You need 4 car seats. You need 2 sets of clothes. You need 2 cribs. So at that time, I was making about $43,000 per year, and I quickly started doing the math. When you factor in, and the other thing they don't tell you is that when you have twins, you need to do 2 hospital visits per week, especially when you get closer to term. And so when you start calculating 2 times daycare expenses and diapers and clothes, you realize that whatever you're making now is not going to be enough. And so at that point, I immediately ran home and started looking up different side hustles that I could do.